Hello friends, in this video series I'm going to show you how can you show data to the client by fetching the record from an existing database which has a table. In the first video you already saw that how I was inserting record in my SQL server. There is a database by the name called database and there was a table called register, and these are the following attributes. Now, if I execute this particular page once more in view in browser, you will be able to see the data has been retrieved from the existing table. So this portion, how it is working, that is what our agenda of this video. So at first, what I will be showing you that if you can notice over here, I have got two tables already. This is the table which is working very smoothly, because of which you can see this record right now. And this is the table I will be working on to make you understand that how this is working. First of all, this is not just a plain simple table, rather it is known as a grid view. So where from you will be getting this grid view? You go to the toolbox, you minimize your all options, you will get an option called data, and if you expand the data, you will get an option called grid view. So from there I have taken this one. Okay. Initially when you will take the grid view, this is how the grid view looks like. And over here, if I expand it, you will get an option called edit column. This is the option which you will be getting. So I will be clicking this particular option called edit column, and before I do that, let me expand the database table so that I know how many column I have to feed. So I will come over here, I will click this, and I will go to edit column, and as I do that, you will find over here there's something called available field, and the very first option which is by default selected is called bound field. I will not be using the bound field because I'm not going to provide any static data. Rather, the data will be coming from the table and it will be keeping on dynamically changing as I add new record or as I perform any deletion. So I will be preferring something called template field. This is the option which is very preferable for data binding from a given table. Okay, and here I'm supposed to provide the header text. That means this. Suppose I'm going to display the content of S name. So I'm saying it's like student name. That's what I'm going to write over here. It's your choice, no problem, whatever you feel like. Then again, I have to click the add because I have got the phone number as well. So over here, I'm writing phone. This is what I'm going to write. So this is going to be the second one. And I don't need any further options. I will close this, but prior before that, you get an option over here called auto generate field. It is having an auto increment of column, which I don't want. I am very happy with these two columns only, so I will just uncheck this one, and then I will click the OK button, and you get to see exactly two columns. Okay, but the data bound has not taken place even right now. Just now you have performed the editing of your bound field to template field. That's what you have done actually. Okay, so now I have to go for data bind. Now what is the data bind means? You are binding a particular attribute of a given table in the database with a particular column of a grid view. It's a long statement, right? So let me repeat once again. What I mean is by data binding is there is a particular attribute in a given table which is present within database. You are making a connection of that attribute with a specific column of the grid view. Okay, so there is a connectivity between attribute with column. How do you connect that? And that is what data bind is all about. And for doing so, I will be using the option called edit template. Okay, so we have already created the template field. Now we can go for edit template. Now what this edit template is all about? Well, you have to think it logically. That is, imagine in this particular table there are multiple rows out there, right? And these rows has to be rendered inside your grid view. But exactly how the data is going to be displayed? Well, we know the data will display the grid view, that's fine, but data has to be displayed in one of the cell, right? So imagine the student name, the first row, the record of the student name should be displayed in this particular cell. The same student has a phone number that will be displayed in this particular cell. That's how first row got printed. Now the counter will be incremented and it will go to the second row. Second row student name will be printed in this particular cell, and second record student phone number will be printed in this particular cell. So if you think it is a printing taking place cell wise, then it needs to have some form of label. See, the label is there over here. That's the reason you can print. That's the reason you are seeing the data in the output, right? So this particular statement is coming from a label. So the label has to be there. So how do you insert a label in a grid view? Is that what we are going to do through the help of edit template? And each label will be connected with the row of a particular record, and the time of rendering, the auto generation of the label for the next row and the corresponding row will be created. So basically you are creating a, like you are inserting a label in one particular cell, and it will be getting regenerated as a new record states. Okay, so let's go and do that insertion of label, and then this data bound will be taking place. So I will go to the option called edit template, and as I do that, something gets changed. It's a very important part. You have to understand this very minorly. Let me click this particular option. You will understand that column 0 and column 1, because I have got two columns. Hey, you might be confused again. So let me close it to show you once again. See, there are two columns right there. So ASP dotted is considering this to be column 0 and ASP dotted is considering this to be column 1. Okay, that's the reason you saw that option. So column 0 is reference to student name and column 1 reference to phone number. Now if I go to column phone number, see right now this is a phone number property. Okay, so I will not go right now over here. I have to complete the first thing first. So I'm coming to the column 0. Inside the column 0 we have got sub options. Okay, the very first option is the option which I need. I will click the item template, and it is related to item template. That means it is saying that the very first record which will be there in this particular table, that will be shown right in this particular cell, that is column 0 student name. Okay, so where it will be shown, it will be shown through a label. So I need to insert one label, and for that I will go to the toolbox and I will expand my standard and I will click the option label. As I do that, the label comes over here. Okay, now what I have to do, it's very important part. I have to go for binding. I have to go for data binding. So I will click this particular label. Don't double click it, single click. The moment you do that, there will be an arrow that comes up and you will be clicking the option called edit data binding. That is how you are binding this particular label with the following attribute, and you will be selecting the text because you're going to display in the form of a label, and you are going to the custom binding. Here you have to write a function called eval first bracket open, and within quote you have to write down the name of the attribute with which you are binding. Okay, so before I click this OK button, let me show you that. Let me stop this particular process once again, and I will show you that I've already done it over here so that you get a clue. So in this table also I have a edit template. So each time you will take a grid view, every time you will get this particular option called edit template. Okay, here I'm clicking right now. See, I didn't bind, so that's the reason level got created. That means each level has generated on each row. That's something which I wanted to show you. So over here, if you see that again, the same thing, user record is the username is there, and I've gone for the item template. And over here, there's a label. And if I click this one, over here also you get the binding is there, which I will be doing it within few minutes for this particular grid view. I will click this option, and as I do that, see over here, that is what I was saying, eval. So eval first bracket open, quotation start, the name of the attribute what you have to put. So I'm just copying this particular term from here, and I don't need to do any further thing. When you are coming out of a grid view item template, you need to finish, you need to complete the editing. You have to click edit item template, then only you will be able to see the grid view back again. So let's come back to this particular view and continue rest of the operation. See, I have just gone to see only label, data bind is not yet taking place. So you click this option and you go to the edit template. As you do that, be very careful, you choose the first column item template. I've already inserted a label over here. Now I will click this one and I will go for edit data binding. And I didn't mention the name of the column. That's the reason there was only label been shown. Now I'm mentioning the column. Be very careful. You will write the name of the function as eval. So eval is a function that connects one attribute with a given object within the grid view, and the object over here is the label. Okay, so be very careful. This particular name which you are finding over here should be your attribute name of a given table, and then you will just press the OK button. You are done with the first column. Okay, you are done with the first column, not completely, because I have also got another column that's got phone number. So if I click the phone number, I will land up into the column 1, and from here what I need to do specifically, I need to go for item template. So I will click the item template. It will just show you item template, and you will put your cursor over here. The very same thing once again you will do. You will go to the toolbox, you double click on the label comes over here, and now you have to go for edit data binding, and you will be binding with the function called eval, and this time we are going for phone number. So I will change the s name to phone. So your eval function has fully binded an attribute with a given object in the grid view. Don't forget to click the edit end of the template editing. So I will click this one, and now you see an exact replica of what you can find it over here. But after you have done all this thing, it doesn't mean that the data will be shown right over here, because I have to mention it through coding as well. So if I run the program right now, let's see what changes I have obtained. So please save the file because the file was updated, and basically you will find that the record is not been shown quite naturally because I didn't mention that thing in the coding part, and that's what has to be done right now. So what I will do is that I will come back over here, and if I go to the page load event, I just you can go to Solution Explorer, you can expand your page over here, CS ASP.NET.C#, and if you see over here in the page load, I have mentioned the name of the first grid view. The first grid view has a name. If I go to the properties, it has a name called gridview underscore user. That's the name it has got. So similarly, I also need to give a name for this. I have given a name called gridview underscore gridview 2. So if I just make a copy of this command, okay, this particular statement is fine. I'm just making a copy of these two lines. Okay, that will be sufficient enough. So I just make a copy of this and I paste it right over here. And instead of writing user underscore user, I will just write 2. So that means I'm talking about the data grid view 2. I'm just making a copy of this. So that will be fine enough to render the data at the page level. So let's go and click the view in browser, and if I do so, I will be finding the record right in front of me. Oh, by the way, there is one extra column. Okay, I forgot to remove that column. So let's go and remove that column as well. Nothing to worry. Just click the grid view, come to the arrow and go to edit column. Over here there's extra column left, so I will just select this one. I will click remove, and that's very fine to go. I click the OK button. Now it's smooth and clean. So right click on this, go to the view in browser, just click the save option, and you get to see the record in both of the grid view. I hope you understood how exactly data binding in the grid view using the eval function comes to an execution. Okay, so please see this video time and again, and I'm very sure you will have no issue in performing data binding operation. Until then, have a nice time. Thank you so much.